It was well past midnight when I finally stepped out onto the street. The kind of late hour where the city no longer feels like a place meant for the living but something quieter. Emptier. Almost like it's holding its breath. The air felt colder than it should have, and the usual sounds of traffic and distant chatter were gone, replaced by a silence that felt heavier with every second. I checked my phone, barely any battery left, no signal, and no ride options available. For a moment, I just stood there under a dim streetlight, debating whether I should start walking or just wait and hope something passed by. That's when I noticed the taxi. It was parked a little further down the road, partially hidden in shadow, its engine already running. No bright taxi sign, no company name, just an old, dark car sitting there like it had been waiting. Something about it didn't feel right, but exhaustion has a way of pushing logic aside. I walked over, hesitated for a second, then knocked on the window. Without turning his head, the driver unlocked the door. The moment I sat inside, I felt that subtle shift in atmosphere. The air inside the car was warmer, but not in a comforting way. It carried a strange smell, like old leather mixed with something metallic, something I couldn't quite place but instinctively didn't trust. The driver kept his eyes on the road, his face barely visible in the low light. I cleared my throat and gave him my address, but before I could even finish, he quietly said, "I know." That was my first real moment of unease. I frowned slightly, leaning forward. "You've been here before?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He didn't answer. The car simply started moving. At first, everything seemed normal enough. The city passed by outside the window, streetlights flickering rhythmically as we drove under them. But after a few minutes, something started to feel off. We weren't going the usual way. I knew the route to my place well enough to recognize when something was wrong. "Hey, this isn't the right way," I said, glancing at the driver through the mirror. He didn't react immediately. Then, after a pause that felt just a little too long, he replied, "This way is faster." His tone was calm, but there was something underneath it, something tight, controlled. I didn't argue, but I didn't feel reassured either. The road began to change. Buildings thinned out, then disappeared entirely. Streetlights became rare, leaving long stretches of darkness between them. I checked my phone again, still no signal. A quiet tension started building in my chest, the kind you can't explain but can't ignore either. That's when I noticed the rearview mirror. At first, it was just a glance, but something about what I saw made me look again. There was something in the back seat. Behind me, I froze, my body going still as my eyes tried to make sense of what I was seeing. It wasn't clear, just a shape, something darker than the shadows around it. I shifted slightly, hoping it was just a trick of the light, maybe my own reflection distorted in the glass, but it didn't move when I did. My breathing slowed, shallow and controlled, as a cold sensation crept up my spine. Did someone else get in the car?" I asked, my voice quieter than I intended. The driver's hands tightened on the steering wheel. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then, in a low, tense voice, he said, "Listen carefully." I swallowed. "Whatever you do, don't look back." A chill spread through my entire body. I let out a nervous laugh, trying to break the tension. "What do you mean? There's something. Don't look back." This time his voice was sharper, urgent in a way that didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a rule. I stared straight ahead, forcing myself not to turn. My heart was pounding now, loud enough that I could hear it in my ears. But the thing behind me, it moved. I saw it in the mirror, just barely. A slow shift, a slight tilt of what could have been a head. It felt like it was watching me, studying me. "Stop the car," I said, my voice shaking now. "Please, just stop the car." The driver shook his head slightly. "We're almost there," he muttered. Almost where? This wasn't my route. This wasn't anywhere I recognized. The darkness outside had deepened, swallowing everything beyond the reach of the headlights. And then I heard it. A whisper. Soft, close, right behind me. It said my name. Every muscle in my body locked up. "How does it know my name?" I whispered, barely able to get the words out. The driver didn't look at me. "Don't listen to it," he said quietly. "It's not real." But it sounded real, too real. The whisper came again, closer this time, right near my ear. "Look at me." My breathing became uneven, panic slowly taking over logic. I knew I shouldn't turn around. Every instinct was telling me not to. But the curiosity, the need to confirm what was happening, it started to overpower everything else. Just 1 second, I thought. Just one look. Slowly, almost against my own will, I began to turn my head. No. The driver slammed his hand against the steering wheel, the sudden noise making me flinch. "Don't do it." But I already had. I looked back. For a brief moment, there was nothing. Just an empty seat. And then, without warning, it was there, right in front of me. Its face was inches away from mine. Its eyes were wide, too wide, and completely empty, like there was nothing behind them. And its smile, it stretched unnaturally across its face, too perfect, too wide, like it was trying to imitate something human and failing. I couldn't move. I couldn't even scream. It leaned closer. "You saw me," it whispered. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was standing alone on the side of a road. The taxi was gone. The driver was gone. There was no sign that any of it had ever happened. My head was spinning as I tried to understand how I got there. My phone buzzed in my hand, snapping me back to reality. A missed call. Unknown number. Time. 3:17 a.m. My hands were shaking as I unlocked my phone, but my finger slipped, accidentally opening the camera. The screen switched to the front camera. For a split second, I saw something behind me. I froze. Slowly, I turned around. There was nothing there. I looked back at the phone, and that's when I realized the reflection hadn't changed. It was still there, standing directly behind me, smiling. I dropped the phone, but the screen stayed on, the faint glow lighting up the ground. And from the speaker, in a voice that sounded exactly like mine, I heard a whisper. "You looked back.